Today, we're looking into an actor who many people know mainly for one huge role, but his career and, well, his life too, has been way more complex than that. We're peeling back the layers on Jeremy Piven, Golden Globe winner, yeah, but most people probably just shout Ari at him, from Entourage. We've got some really interesting stuff here from a recent chat he had with the New Zealand Herald. He gets pretty candid about, well, life after that show, his surprising jump into stand-up comedy, and how much his late mother really shaped him.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? How he handles all that comes with fame, the career changes. It really shows how relationships and just, growing personally can totally change how people see you. So our mission here is really to pull out the key ideas from what he shared, give you a clearing picture of, well, what drives someone like him? Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's start with the big one, Ari Gold. For so many of us, Jeremy Piven just is Ari Gold. It's almost like impossible to separate them.
Wow.
What did the source material tell us about how that role still follows him around? And maybe more importantly, how he's actually learned to, well, embrace it instead of fighting it.
It's quite a journey he describes. Piven himself talks about fans still coming up, expecting him to launch into an Ari-style rant. He even mentioned this one time, seriously, at a urinal. A fan started doing the whole Ari thing right there.
No way.
Yeah. But, his whole take on it has really shifted. He said he used to find it annoying, but now he sees it as a gift. Proof that the work actually connected with people, that it moved and touched them, as he put it.
Right.
So he's kind of reframed it. It helps him square that public image with who he actually is, taking control of that story.
He had that great line too, didn't he? Something like, anger is a punishment you give yourself. Kind of like burning your Tesla. That's a pretty big mental shift. Going from being annoyed at a urinal to seeing it as a gift. How does someone even make that leap? It can't be simple.
Well, I think it's about consciously reframing it, like you said. He's choosing to see the positive connection behind it rather than just the maybe awkwardness of the moment. He's focusing on the impact, the fact that the character landed. Instead of letting fan expectations box him in, it's actually a really smart way to manage that kind of intense fame, turning it into validation.
Okay, so he figured out how to handle the Ari Gold shadow, but then professionally, he took a totally different path. A big gamble, really. After Entourage, he went across the pond for Mr. Selfridge. What was that all about? That felt like it came out of left field for a lot of people.
Yeah, that was his big dramatic pivot, as the source called it. Playing Harry Selfridge, the American retail guy in this British period drama. It ran for a few years, 2013 to 2016. And while it did well critically over in the UK, it apparently struggled to get eyeballs in the US. Piven himself pointed out, the distribution challenges. They went with PBS in the States, and he said they just have no money to advertise, which is a tough break. Shows you quality isn't always enough. You need visibility.
And didn't the Brits have a kind of funny reaction to him at first? Something about his accent?
Oh, absolutely. This part's great. He said some British viewers were so convinced by his performance as Selfridge, they genuinely thought he was a British actor putting on an American accent for the role.
Seriously?
Yeah. And then when they found out he was actually American, they'd joke like, oh, you're American. Oh, well, then you're a cess actor then.
Huh. That's brilliant. A total backhanded compliment.
Exactly. But it really shows how much he disappeared into that role, right? Enough to make people forget Ari Gold, at least for a bit. It speaks volumes about his acting chops.
It really does. So, okay, we've got Ari, we've got Selfridge, but the source also talks about his deeper roots in performance, even stand-up comedy. Where did all that start? What's this connection to the stage feeling like home?
Well, he grew up in Chicago, and apparently he's been on stage pretty much his whole life, since he was 8 years old. He did a lot of improv too, which he calls writing on your feet doing comedy. So yeah, that live performance thing, it's baked into who he is.
Oh, okay.
It's not just a job, it's fundamental to him, that connection with a live audience, that immediacy. It's clearly where he feels most comfortable creatively.
Right, makes sense. But then the source really emphasizes his late mother, Joyce Piven. She was a well-known acting coach herself. Her influence seems huge.
Yeah.
How did she shape him? Not just his career, but his whole outlook.
Oh, massively. Foundational is the word. She's the one who first sparked his interest in acting. He says she wasn't really one for giving direct advice, but she offered these brilliant insights. He called her a true artist until her last breath.
Wow.
And get this, his latest film, The Performance, it's based on an Arthur Miller story about a Jewish dancer in Nazi Berlin. That was a role his mother specifically picked out for him before she passed away. She literally handed it to him and said, "This is a great role for you."
That's incredible. Talk about belief.
Yeah, incredible foresight, incredible belief. That's the kind of impact a mentor, especially a mother like that, can have. It's really profound.
And she left him with something else too, didn't she?
Yeah.
Sort of final lesson.
She did. He mentioned the last book he gave her was The Four Agreements. And one of the main ideas from that book about being true to your word and, crucially, not comparing yourself to others, he said that's something he really holds on to. It's just a really powerful example of how those core values, that wisdom, get passed down and keeps guiding you, long after someone's gone.
So, thinking about all this, what's the big takeaway for us, for anyone listening? Piven's story seems to be about more than just acting roles. It feels like it's about, well, constantly adapting, finding yourself, dealing with expectations, taking big risks, and the power of family, of mentorship.
Absolutely. I think his journey really underscores that true artistry, or maybe just living authentically, isn't just about the public successes, the roles you play. It's about that constant personal evolution, staying grounded in your principles, understanding what actually motivates you, even when you make those big, unexpected pivots. It's about the self behind the performance.
So it makes you wonder, doesn't it, thinking about Piven's journey? What past success or expectation might be defining your path right now? And what kind of dramatic pivot, big or small, might be out there for you, maybe inspired by the lessons from people who've really shaped you? How could you turn something that feels like a limitation into, well, like Piven did, a kind of gift?